Brian and Kenzie in the morning. And Chicago's alternative all day.
Q101.
Brian and Kenzie on Q101. More of those school bus stories coming. And remember, we do have a Facebook post on it from Wednesday. You have to scroll back down to get it, but if you want to put it there, we'll continue to peruse them and read them because we have no more time right now. But before we get the cases movie review, to remind you one more time, at this time on Monday, exactly 8 a.m., we are announcing Q101's Twisted Christmas. All the bands, all the nights, all the information, ticket information, and free tickets. Free tickets. You'll be the first person into the Aragon. We can say that much. At the Aragon for one of the 4 nights at Q101's Twisted Christmas. So Monday, we cannot wait. We hold on to this information, and to finally release it is fantastic and get you into one of the biggest events we do all year, Q101's Twisted Christmas.
For Christ's sake, tomorrow's the 4th of July, and we will be open for business.
What country you from? What ain't no country I ever heard of? They speak English and what?
Utah. Give me 2.
Do you enjoy pain?
Pain don't hurt.
Wax on, right hand. Wax off, left hand.
Now fry like bacon, you little freshman piggies! Fry! Fry!
Playing football in West Canaan may have been the opportunity of your lifetime, but I don't want your life.
Well, we tragically lost one of the greatest actors of all time. Could make the argument he was the greatest actor of all time, Robert Redford. And last week, Case did Goodfellas on the 35th anniversary. You can go back to the podcast. You want to hear that review. It was amazing.
That guy from the Chantix commercial, good actor.
Yeah, it really turns out.
Turns out.
Who
I
knew?
didn't know.
Who knew? So this week there was a vote of a lot of movies that Robert Redford was in, including, I really thought Butch and Sundance was going to win, but All the President's Men won, a very timely movie released April 9th, 1976, almost 50 years old. The budget was $8.5 million, made $70 million. So back in the 70s, that must have been like a movie making $1 billion today.
It's like Avengers Endgame, basically.
It really was. But the film has received near universal acclaim from many film critics, both on its release and in the years immediately following on it. So on the review aggregator Rotten Tomatoes, the film has a 94% rating based on 64 reviews and an average rating of 9.10 out of 10. And we'll see what Case does on this one because he doesn't always agree with these reviewers out there. Just to remind you, next week, Case will do the Rocky Horror Picture Show for its 50th anniversary.
That's right. That actually came out 50 years ago today. We move into October next week, which will be a series of spooky movies, and we'll kick that off with Rocky Horror Picture Show.
Now we'll start like we always do with how All the President's Men was promoted in the 70s, 76 with the trailer. So that kind of gives you context when you hear this of how it was being advertised.
All the President's Men. The story of the 2 young reporters who cracked the Watergate conspiracy.
White House.
Howard Hunt, please. They stumbled into Leeds.
Certainly it comes as no surprise to you that Howard was with the CIA.
No surprise at all. And piece by piece, they solve the greatest detective story in American history. At times, it looked as if it might cost them their jobs.
You guys are about to write a story that says the former Attorney General, the highest-ranking law enforcement officer in this country, is a crook.
Their reputations.
Why is the Post trying to do it? I don't know.
Perhaps even their lives.
You know, that voiceover guy is not losing work to AI.
No.
He got all that money in the 70s. He probably lives up on the North Shore in Lake Forest on the lake. Just a side little anger moment there. That voice was fantastic.
I have to say, though, and I don't want to be mean, but that sounded boring. That sounded horrible.
Well,
I was like excited, and I'm like, that de-influenced me to watch the movie.
Well, what did you think it was about?
I thought it was going to be more first I thought it was gay, and it's not. Okay,
She thought all the President's Men was gay porn.
Yes,
when she heard that name.
I was like ready for something a lot more interesting, bigger scandal, whatever. And then I'm like, okay, still about a scandal, and like that didn't even sound. That sounded horrible.
So just reference point, maybe I'll let Case answer this. It's one of the biggest scandals and drama pieces in American history and political world.
Literally one of the most important things that's ever happened.
I'm not. That wasn't the argument. I'm saying they made it sound boring.
But did they need
Yeah.
Look at Watergate.
Yes.
They needed Tom Cruise saying, "They're all dead. My whole team's dead."
I want some gasps. I want some shock. I want to hear glass break for some reason. You know what I mean? Like
okay, but that's not this movie.
Oh, God, how boring. All right, go ahead, guys. Sorry.
Well,
What'd
Kenzie,
you think?
Kenzie, let's start here. I'm going to ask you a question to start.
Oh, boy.
When I say Watergate scandal, what does that mean to you?
I know what happened in that little room.
Okay.
Then they all bust into a room.
Wait, they bust into a room?
Yeah, I remember they got caught in like a room or something. It was an affair, right? Was it an affair? Something happened.
You tell me what Watergate was.
What is Watergate?
No, Case, I'm just going to make a reference point. You're losing time with your review.
I apologize.
So Kenzie thinks it's an affair. It's an affair, right?
Yeah, no. All the President's Men, the movie that we're reviewing here, is a story about two Washington Post reporters, Bob Woodward, Carl Bernstein, in their effort to expose the Watergate scandal, which was when 5 people attempted to infiltrate the Democratic offices at the Watergate Hotel to steal stuff to get dirt on them. That's why we call it Watergate, because it was the hotel that they were at. Not everybody knows that. It's very annoying to me when people throw gate on the end of things. Watergate was called Watergate not because of a gate, but because they stayed at the Watergate Hotel.
Interesting.
And that's what was broken into.
Yeah, people will say, like, ticket gate.
Deflate gate.
Deflate gate.
Yeah, that's not. It has nothing to do with gates. It's Watergate. That was the hotel.
Yeah.
We should all like this movie. This movie's incredibly timely.
Kenzie sounds pretty getting amped up here. He's getting bubbly.
The great thing about All the President's Men is it makes me want to do 2 things. It makes me want to smoke cigarettes and buy a typewriter. That's most of this movie is people smoking and people typing and then occasionally people making phone calls. And it's a 2-hour thrill ride that I couldn't stop paying attention to the entire time.
Got it.
Finally, we can talk about Nixon on this show. I've been dying to.
Case, big Nixon guy. Indiana, big Nixon people.
But I think Nixon has a super complicated legacy because this is the guy who had EPA. He created the EPA, Title IX, proposed universal health care, but also there's a bunch of bad stuff like Watergate in Nixon's portfolio. It's fascinating.
I relate to Nixon in this situation.
Interesting.
His paranoia.
Please say more.
Yeah, because, do a lot of good things, but then only get acknowledged for my paranoia. And that's kind of how Nixon went out. His paranoia caused all this to happen,
Yes.
He was an incredibly disturbed guy.
Very much
like
so.
me. Yet he does a lot of good things, but those get washed over.
It's tough. The complicated legacy.
Complicated legacy. Like I have one too.
This is Kenzie. I guess I don't know how to win you back after the trailer, but this is the ultimate true crime movie. This is a mystery for 2.5 hours because they have the story that people broke into the Watergate Hotel, and as they go along, they realize that these people are connected to Nixon, which is a shock, that they're connected to the FBI, that they're connected to the CIA. It compromises the entire Americans' intelligence agencies, which is something that we're still living with 60 years later. We still have the fact that, we don't have any privacy and everybody's watching our every move. But it's this movie lays the groundwork for all the paranoia that we so justifiably have all these years later. Am I wrong in saying that?
No.
Okay, but can I just ask a question? Can I ask an honest question without you being mean to me?
I can't promise that, but go ahead.
What? What were they? I don't get what they were stealing. So from the party? What are you stealing?
Yeah, they were stealing balloon animals. No.
Yeah.
That's a fair question.
So,
what?
It comes out in the movie. This is one of the big focal points of the movie, is that a year prior to Watergate, Nixon had set up, or Nixon's administration had set up, a group of people to run smear campaigns on various Democrats. And what they were doing was they were breaking into the Water Hotel to steal their personal belongings to learn more information about the Democrats that were trying to get Nixon out of office, because we're preparing for the 1972 election at this point.
So they're basically breaking in to steal dirt on people.
Yes, exactly. Exactly.
Isn't that exciting, Kenzie?
Well, now it's getting better.
Okay, good.
And so along the way, they're like, oh, this wasn't just breaking and entering and theft. This was breaking and entering orchestrated by the administration, and also the FBI and the CIA are tied into it. And then also, while Woodward and Bernstein are trying to get more information on this, everybody's afraid to talk. The one guy that will talk to them is this guy named Deep Throat, who will only meet with...
Okay, now we're cooking.
You were right, it is a gay porn.
And this is supposed to be a straight movie.
So Deep Throat will only meet with Woodward, who's Robert Redford, and he'll only meet in dark parking garages late at night, which that sounds like my ideal Friday night. You know what I'm saying?
I guess Kenzie was right. It's a gay porn.
The great thing is the first time Redford goes and talks to Deep Throat. He can't find him in the parking garage, and then you hear the flick of Deep Throat's lighter, and then he lights up a cigarette, and you see him in the background only because he's smoking. Again, this movie makes smoking seem so cool.
And it was.
So into it. It's awesome.
It was till everybody died from it. It was really cool.
That's the rub, the complicated legacy of smoking. You look cool, but then you die. And it's important to note, we've got this audio. The first time that Deep Throat meets with Woodward, who's Robert Redford's character, he says something that I say constantly. And I didn't know that I got this quote from all the President's men. Let's listen to their first interaction.
Forget the myths that the media's created about the White House. The truth is, these are not very bright guys, and things got out of hand.
Hunt's come in from the cold. Supposedly he's got a lawyer with $25,000 in a brown paper bag.
Follow the money.
What do you mean? Where?
Oh, I can't tell you that.
But you could tell me that.
No, I have to do this my way. You tell me what you know, and I'll confirm. I'll keep you in the right direction if I can, but that's all. Just follow the money.
Case has been saying follow the money since I met him 7 years ago, and he didn't know where that came from. It came from this movie.
I jumped off my couch when I heard that. I'm always telling people to follow the money.
If you follow the money, you're going to find all the answers you want.
Ask questions, follow the money. That's the way to live life.
Because everything that goes on politically in the world, whether it's a corporate world, whatever, it's all about somebody wanting the money.
It's all about the money.
And if you follow the money, you'll find the bad guy.
And so,
okay, find Deep Throat. Okay.
No, Deep Throat
that answers all the questions.
They found Deep Throat.
Yeah.
They didn't need to find him. They got him.
Get Deep Throat.
And Deep Throat was stringing them along in a positive way to make sure that their story was accurate along the way, because this was a time when journalistic integrity and journalistic intentions really mattered. And what I find so interesting is that at one point, Woodward and Bernstein published a story in the Washington Post, and the White House comes out. This is when they're getting really close to putting all the pieces together. And the White House comes out, and they say, this is a witch hunt. The Washington Post has political bias against us. They don't want Nixon in office. You shouldn't trust the media. You shouldn't trust this newspaper. And I think, obviously, that's a very dangerous way to live life. And I think the constant distrust of the media has put this country in a very dangerous position. And you see the seeds planted for that 50 years prior with Nixon. Again, we should all be watching this movie and taking notes because it explains how we got here now.
Damn.
Well, it's just, it matters. The fabric of this country matters to me.
Well, here's the thing with this. And you're exactly right, is that if this was today and they were trying to do this, they would just be discredited as fake news, or first off, no one would respect the newspaper anyway.
Well, and the newspaper likely would have told them to stop running with the story, because the Washington Post has to make the decision as to whether or not they will let Woodward and Bernstein keep working on this, because it takes them a long time to get there. They have a lot of unnamed sources. Nobody will go on record, but the paper stands by them the entire time and supports them, and we end up getting a story that literally changed this country, which is a good thing. I think nowadays, with all due respect to the people that sign my paycheck, I think most corporations are spineless and would just tell the reporters to stop working on this story.
Now, Kenzie, if you don't want to watch the whole movie, Chris checked in from Plainfield and said, I remember seeing the short version of this on The Simpsons. It's the awesome Sideshow Bob episode where he runs for mayor, and Smithers is Deep Throat.
Oh, my God.
So if you want to watch a half-hour version in animation form, just go find that Sideshow Bob. Thanks for checking in from Plainfield on that one, because that is an amazing episode.
We also got a text from Val that said, I just feel stupid. I thought Watergate was when Reagan went in office, and it was about a water crisis.
Oh, my God.
And I love that so much. Amen.
Well, we should learn our history so we don't repeat it. The problem is we didn't, and now here we are with no privacy. Everybody, that's the other thing. These guys were bugging a hotel room.
That's right.
I just assume my laptop camera's on all the time from some government guy watching me get naked.
You're being watched constantly. Everybody's listening to every conversation you have. Everybody's reading every text that you ever send. And that ends up being the climax of this movie. Towards the very end, Deep Throat tells Woodward that, hey, your life is endangered. You're being watched. You're being surveillance. And so Woodward and Bernstein go to their editor's house, who's, by the way, his name is Ben Bradley. How fun is that?
Wow.
And they have this conversation on Ben Bradley's lawn. This is the editor of the Washington Post explaining the stakes of publishing this story to Woodward and Bernstein.
The results of the latest Gallup poll, half the country never even heard of the word Watergate. Nobody gives a shit. You guys are probably pretty tired, right? Well, you should be. Go on home. Get a nice hot bath. Rest up 15 minutes. Then get your asses back in gear. We're under a lot of pressure, you know, and you put us there. Nothing's riding on this except the First Amendment of the Constitution, freedom of the press, and maybe the future of the country. Not that any of that matters. But if you guys f*** up again, I'm going to get mad.
Oh, God. So good, this movie. Robert Redford is just incredible. This is one of his, pinnacles of performance. And also, I guess he wrote, did he write it and direct it too?
Well, he was involved in producing it. This is really his big project. He's the one that bought the screenplay from the book that Woodward and Bernstein wrote, and then Warner Brothers got on from there, and he was heavily involved in every aspect of this movie. He and Dustin Hoffman learned each other's lines so that when they were in scenes together, they could finish each other's sentences. They wanted to have that level of chemistry. Maybe the trailer didn't light the world on fire for people. I love this movie. This is one of my favorite movies that I've watched for this show. I thought it was incredible. I think it's incredibly relevant. I think, it's not an action movie. It's one that you have to pay attention to. You maybe put the subtitles on for this one to help you focus. But from ages 15 and up, you should be able to watch this movie. You should be able to enjoy it because it's a mystery thriller, and you should be able to learn something from it to apply to your daily life. I think it's a phenomenal film.
Am I rushing you to get to the rating, or y'all?
No, I can give it now. I think it's 9 cigarettes out of 10. Smoke them if you got them.
9 cigs out of 10.
Brian and Kenzie in the morning, and Chicago's alternative all day.
Q101.